Your child used to tell you everything: the friend drama, the teacher they didn't like, the tiny things that happened at school. Now you ask, "How was your day?" And you get one word: fine. Door closed, conversation over, and you're left wondering, when did the silence start? Something important is happening in that moment, not just in your child, but in you. When a parent feels distance from their child, the nervous system reacts fast. Your brain reads the silence as a threat to connection. So, the body moves into problem-solving mode. Ask more questions, push for answers, correct the behavior, try to fix what might be wrong. But for a child, especially a teenager, that pressure often feels like the opposite of safety. And slowly, conversations shrink. Not because the child stopped needing guidance, but because they stopped feeling comfortable bringing things forward. Imagine communication like a drawbridge between two castles. When the environment feels safe, the bridge lowers. People can walk across. But when someone senses criticism, pressure, or emotional intensity, the bridge lifts, not out of disrespect, out of protection. Many kids stop sharing because certain experiences taught their brain, "It's safer to keep things to myself." Let's look at 6 common reasons that bridge starts rising. 1. They expect a lecture. If every conversation turns into advice, correction, or life lessons, kids start avoiding the conversation entirely. 2. Emotions get bigger than the problem. A child mentions a mistake. The parent's reaction becomes louder than the situation. The message received is, "Talking about problems makes things worse." 3. Immediate problem solving. Children often want to be heard first. When solutions arrive instantly, they can feel dismissed. 4. Interrogation mode. Rapid questions. Who was there? What exactly happened? Why did you do that? To a child, it can feel like a cross-examination. 5. Comparison or judgment. Even subtle phrases like, "Why didn't you just? I would have handled that differently." These moments quietly close the bridge. 6. Timing. Many parents try to talk when the child is tired, overwhelmed, or distracted. Wrong timing often looks like resistance, when it's really just overload. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, when your child shares something small, what usually happens next? That moment matters more than most parents realize. Here's a reaction many parents fall into without noticing. A child says something difficult, maybe, "I failed the test," and the parent immediately says, "Why didn't you study more? You knew this was important. We talked about this already." The intention is guidance, but what the child hears is, "Talking about mistakes leads to disappointment." So next time, they keep it to themselves. Reopening communication doesn't require perfect words. It requires a different sequence. 3 small shifts can change the tone completely. Step 1, start with curiosity, not correction. Instead of jumping into advice, begin with interest. Sounds like that was frustrating. A simple reflection lowers defensiveness instantly. Step 2, leave space. Silence is uncomfortable for adults, but silence is often where kids decide whether to keep talking. Give the moment room to breathe. Step 3, ask permission before giving guidance. A powerful sentence many parents never use. Do you want help thinking through it, or do you just want to vent? This restores the child's sense of control, and surprisingly, many kids eventually ask for the advice. Real-life example. Let's imagine a common moment. Your daughter walks in after school. She drops her bag harder than usual. You feel the urge to ask immediately, "What happened?" But you pause. You notice the tension in your own chest. Your brain says, "Something's wrong. Fix it." Instead, you try something different. You say calmly, Looks like today was a lot. She shrugs. School was annoying. Your instinct says, ask more questions. But you wait. A few seconds pass. Then she says, everyone's being weird about this group project. Now the bridge is lowering. Instead of solving it, you respond, that sounds frustrating. Another pause. She continues, they're blaming me for stuff. Now she's talking. The conversation opened not because of the perfect words, but because the pressure stayed low. Here's something many parents find unexpected. Children rarely stop talking because they don't love their parents. They stop talking because they are trying to manage emotional risk. Every past interaction teaches their brain, is this conversation safe or stressful? And safety isn't built through big speeches. It's built through hundreds of small responses. Think about the last time your child shared something vulnerable. Did the conversation move toward understanding or toward fixing and correcting? That difference shapes whether the next conversation happens at all. Communication with children is not a personality trait. It's a skill that develops through practice. Every calm response lowers the drawbridge a little more. Every moment of listening, even imperfect listening, adds another plank to the bridge. Some conversations will still be short. Some doors will still close quickly. But when a child repeatedly experiences curiosity instead of pressure, something shifts. They begin to test the bridge again. One small story, one small frustration, one small moment of honesty. And over time, those moments grow. Connection doesn't reopen all at once. It returns piece by piece, quietly, just like trust does. If this video felt helpful, you're very welcome to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future videos about calmer, less stressful parenting. Feel free to share your experience in the comments. It can help other parents realize they're not alone. See you in the next videos.